Nigeria is one of the biggest or the biggest African country in the world, and this has given us the opportunity to lead in the area of environment, but we have not really done that as much as we should. And unfortunately also the awareness on climate change is very low in Nigeria, because a report by BBC World Trust Service shows that the level of climate change in Nigeria is about 1%, which is appalling to a whole lot of us that are passionate about environmental issues. And one of the things that we are doing is that we want to raise awareness about climate change, because people are already experiencing climate change impact in Nigeria, but most of them cannot relate it to the scientific part of it. Like the Niger Delta that you mentioned, yes, is a critical situation that we need to look at. Some couple of months back, there was an oil spill in Bongo area in the Niger Delta, and Shell also has been responsible for most of those things, the multinational companies. And we have stepped up campaign as regard the way these oil companies are exploring oil from the ground in these areas. They are not the best, these are not best practices when you want to talk about the oil downstream sector. And we feel that this is affecting the local people, the community people in these areas, because they are being exposed to a whole lot of health crisis as a result of the oil spillage and exploitation. As a matter of fact, a report that was published some years back shows that to clean up the oil spill, the whole oil spillage in the Niger Delta will take almost $1 billion to do, and 30 years to do this. So that tells you the magnitude of what we're talking about. And just to take us a little back into history, the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico in 2010 is a child's play to what we experience on a daily basis in the Niger Delta. So this is really, really serious, and we need to take it more seriously, and we need to hold the people that are committing this crime responsible for their actions.
Really, that's fascinating. So it's worse in the Gulf of Mexico. Why do you think that there has not been enough focus on that from an international level?
Well, I would say that one, our government needs to play a more proactive role in holding these people accountable, because if you don't take it seriously, the international, the global community will not take this issue as serious as it should be taken seriously. So I think the onus falls back to us taking it seriously. And we are not really impressed as young people that this is happening in our watch, and our governments are not doing much to address it. So this is one of the reasons why the Zero Carbon Africa as a group has come together to raise awareness about environmental degradation in different parts of Nigeria, and not just raising awareness but also creating actions to back this up. Our ultimate goal is actually to start a grassroots movement to empower community and indigenous people in different parts of Nigeria and moving forward across Africa. And one of the ways we can do this is through awareness. Recently, in September, we actually did something about this, using art to communicate what climate change is all about, because we strongly believe that art has a way of getting to people and painting the human face behind every crisis we are facing. So during the program, we invited notable environmental activists like Nemo Bassi was there. We engaged Oxfam Foundation, Oxfam Nigeria, Enrich Ball Foundation, and other leading environmental organizations to talk about this issue. During the course of this, also we engaged poets to talk about, to actually put the climate change and environmental issues into context through their poetry, emotion, presentational dance, drama. So to follow up on this, we started raising awareness and also engaging other youth from different parts of the country. Then we launched out the National Day of Action on Climate Change in Nigeria. It's the first of its kind. And this event, this action day, was actually launched by Nemo Bass himself at our own event. And it should be so surprising to know that the response we got was quite encouraging, because well over 20,000 young people in different parts of Nigeria took part in this day of action, which was on the 25th of October.
And what did it achieve? Do you think that the politicians in Nigeria noticed? Do you think Goodluck Jonathan was watching on his television set that night and thought, oh, climate change, I need to do something about it? Do you feel that what you're doing at the moment is slowly making waves at the top of government?
Well, we believe that the solution to climate crisis is not a one-cap-fit-all approach. We have to scale up our plans, we have to scale up our movement, and that's why we are here in Durban. Yes, truly we believe strongly that the actions taken on the National Day of Action have raised awareness on the grassroots level, and we want to connect the awareness level, the grassroots action, to policy lobbying, to influence policy that will actually fast-track legitimizing and legislating of policies that will actually be binding on environmental issues. Now we are here in Durban, and we have been engaging other young people to enact pressure on our politicians and public policy holders, public office holders, and also our negotiators. Unfortunately, most of the negotiators that are on ground are low-level negotiators, and we are being told that the high-level negotiators will be coming in later this weekend to start preparing for the next week high-level meetings. And we hope that by the time we get together, we'll be able to let them know our position, that yes, we want you to play an active role within the African group, because Nigeria have the population, we have the expertise. Also, we need to include more young people in what you are doing, because young people, you're talking about our lives here, and our lives start this very moment. In the next 50 years, most of them will not be around, but we'll be around, and we inherit this. And we don't want to look back and say, hey, this is what our grandfather left for us. We want them to leave a climate legacy that will last forever, that will sustain the world that we know.
I suppose after South Africa, Nigeria is probably the most influential country, at least in sub-Saharan Africa. Yeah. Why do you think that there has been this lack of interest, this lack of engagement in these issues from your government?
Well, I think is something that has to do with the transition of government, because generally when we change government, the programs that the former government has most of the time are not being followed through by the incoming government. And I think that's one of the reasons why we are having this kind of problem, because if you're following through on the last agenda of the last administration, then we should be able to move forward. And I think it's really important that our government work with civil society groups, young people, and experts in channeling a kind of a long-term vision, a long-term plan that will put into consideration that, yeah, you might only spend 4 years in office, and someone have to take it on from there. So if we can successfully channel out or draw out this kind of plan of action, then we'll have a consistent policy drive that will focus on development, and that will help us to lead the African group in making demands in this kind of meetings where decisions are being taken on environmental issues.